Hi guys, welcome to a new video. My name is Amber, in case you don't know. And in case you don't know, I'm a psychologist. I study psychology. I'm in my fourth year, my first year of my master's. And over the years I've picked up a few things that I use quite often. A few psychological concepts or illusions that I use in my day-to-day life, and I thought I'd share it with you guys. The first one is the fact that you should imitate other people. For example, if you're in a conversation that matters a lot, like with a professor or someone who's above you and you want them to like you, try and sit the way they sit. For example, if they have their arms crossed, cross your arms as well. If they're sitting like this, sit like this as well. It's been proven that if you're similar to the person that you are actually trying to impress, it's easier for them to find you attractive. And I mean attractive not necessarily in the way of like sexually attractive or something, but just attractive as a person. So try and imitate the person you're trying to impress, and that way it will be easier for you to impress that person. The second one is called anchoring. Anchoring is actually the fact that whenever you are in a negotiation, for example, if you want to buy a house, the first person to say a number, a price, will be the one that actually gets what he wants. Because it's been proven that people actually try and cling to the first number they hear with loads of experiments. And thus, if you are the first one to say a number, you'll know that that number will be the one that they keep circling around with any other offers they might make. So if you're the first one to say a number out loud, you'll be sure that it'll be around that price. The third one is framing. Framing is the way you might say something. If, for example, you were to try and sell something to someone, you could try and frame a promotion as a promotion or as a reduction. Framing it as a promotion, something positive, will make it more likely for people to actually buy the product, rather than framing it as a reduction, which is a form of loss. And that way it'll be less likely for them to actually buy it, because it's framed as a loss, and people don't like to hear stuff about losing or negative or anything in that realm of things. The fifth one is operant or classical conditioning. Both of them are very well known in psychology. If you've ever had some kind of psychology, either in high school or just as like watching YouTube videos or something about it, chances are you've heard of this one. Operant and classical conditioning is the type of learning where you try and make people associate something you do or some kind of action with a positive feeling. A very well-known internet story around that is the fact that a girl somewhere in America found out that a boy she liked a certain type of candy, and every time she saw him in the hall or something like that, she made sure to offer him that kind of candy. And in the end he started smiling whenever he saw her. We had no idea why, because he didn't make the link in his brain consciously between the candy and the girl, but unconsciously he did. So he really liked that girl just because she always offered him candy. It seems like an easy thing to do, but if you think about it, it's quite hard to be consistent, because with conditioning you have to do it every single time for it to work. So I think there's loads of ways you could use that in your day-to-day life, whether it's trying to raise kids, trying to make someone like you, anything at all. I'm sure you could find a way to use it. Sixth is the decoy effect. The decoy effect is a very well-known thing. Actually, most people know it, they just don't know what they actually call it. And a lot of people call it the fat ugly friend. There's been a movie some time back about this. I don't like the concept as it is, but it does work. It's where you try to actually use someone who is slightly less attractive than you, and because they are near you, your own attractiveness or beauty or whatever you want to call it actually gets heightened, because they are just a little bit less than you. I think this concept is something that has been used for years and years on end, especially in movies. It's a very well-known movie trope to add in the fat ugly friend. But I don't actually use this one. I just think it's kind of a very known one that nobody knows is based on psychology. The seventh is actually one that I use very often. It's faking it. It's based on an experiment where they asked people to either hold a pencil between their lips or above their lip. And depending on what you do, you look like you're smiling or you look like you're frowning more. And it seems that if you try and, like, if you have to use the muscles that you use for smiling, you feel happier even though you aren't necessarily happy when doing the exercise. What I mean by faking it is if you fake a smile, if you actually make your muscles move into a smile, you will feel happier. And the same goes with confidence. The whole fake it till you make it trope actually does work. If you just fake and you seem like you have confidence, the people reacting to you will actually make it feel like you are confident and make it feel like you are oozing confidence to them, so they will react in a certain way, which makes it easier for you to actually build your own confidence. So fake it till you make it actually does work and has been proven to work. Number 8 is actually one that I use every day at university, especially in the first few months of university. And it's being seen. Now, what do I mean by that? It means in the first few classes, sit in the front, wear something bright, make sure your professor knows you're there. In psychology, there have been loads of experiments around this topic. For example, they would put a few students in front of the auditorium and make sure that they were there for the first few classes. And then after a few classes, they would give the professor a list of students and he had to rate them from 1 to 10. And automatically everyone who was in front got higher ratings, not necessarily because he consciously knows them, just because he has seen them more, and your brain, anything that's similar or more available, your brain tends to like it more. So that's something you could use every day, I think. Number 9 is what we call availability heuristics. Availability heuristics is the fact that whatever is more available in your brain will be something you think is more likely to happen. A not so nice example of this thing is the fact that people think terrorism is something that'll happen any second. Especially last year that was the case, but it's not that likely that you die from terrorism. It's more likely to die from a washing machine falling on you than to die from terrorism. It's just that terrorism is in the papers so often. Dying from a washing machine falling on you is never in the papers. So we think it's more likely because we've heard about it more. And I think there are ways to use this in your daily life as well. If you tell people something or if you make sure they know about something, for example, it's very likely for you to succeed and you keep telling them, oh, I will succeed, I will succeed. If after some weeks they were asked, oh, is this person going to succeed in life? Chances are they will say yes, because they've heard it so often. The last one, number 10, is called confirmation bias. Humans are more likely to want to confirm what they already think than to want to deny or adjust their opinions. I don't think this is something new to lots of people. If you've been following politics at any point in your life, you know, people like to hear that they are right rather than that they are wrong. So that's actually something that has been used, especially in politics, very often. If you are having a discussion with someone, try and go with their perspective and then slowly adjust rather than going right into it and trying to deny everything they're thinking, because it will be much harder and it's so much easier to just try and adjust little by little rather than really confronting someone. So yeah, I hope this was educational in some way. These are all things that I do know about and I know a lot of people who use them. It becomes a sort of second nature as a psychologist to see these kind of little illusions or cognitive illusions that people use every day. But it's always fun to see if someone is doing it without actually knowing they are doing it. I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you next time. Bye!